Yep. So as I mentioned yesterday, we'll be covering the automation testing, manual testing, the basic set of testing, right? Irrespective of manual testing or automation testing. If you log into any project, what we have to do from the starting from the scratch, right? Even though it could be a fresher or you guys experience are from non-IT or anywhere, it's like same. We'll be starting from very basic level so that we'll be familiar with the words, familiar with the environment. Okay. So as I told you, this session is recorded. So I'll be sharing the session recorded link once everyone who has confirmed the class, right, will be sharing that link so that you can refer, right? So let's start from, yeah. So today's day 2. So first we'll talk about manual testing because once you have a manual testing process idea, so it's easy to use automation testing because these days, right, it's not like we have separate roles for manual testing or separate for automation testing. If you're applying for automation testing, in the interview, there is a 5% or 10% of chances they will ask the question whether do you know the manual testing or not. And they will ask a question like that because in a year you may get a project of 9 months of 10 months of automation testing, and there are 2 or 3 months there is a chance that you have to do manual testing also. If you say I don't have any idea on the manual testing or I'm not sure what it could be, I know only automation testing, I know only coding, then 80% chances it will through, but 20% chances there are chances that you can't do the interview because people who are hiring that they expect these two skills at same time. Because manual testing is not a technical or not big one or coding. It's a very simple one, but should have idea knowledge. That's the only important case here. Okay, because whatever doing in manually, instead of that, we'll be writing a code and we do that. But same process is same. The reporting, execution, everything is same. So that if it's better, you can tell to in our interview or in a resume, so you can keep that. Okay, I know manual testing and I know automation testing, and so that it's better, so that our resume can pick it up easily. And these are the two important things you should know. For other things, right, like performance testing, data testing, I'll be teaching the basics also of those things. So you should have an idea. So the more you know, right, the more you have the knowledge, that's good, better. You can't be expert in other type of testing, but you should expert in the manual automation testing. But other things, you started, okay, I did for only small project. I just I learned whenever I have free time, or you can say I did a POC on the database system, but kind of that. You say, okay, I have an idea. I know how to use that. Other teams are using like that. So you can't say no straight away like that. Okay, I don't know that. I know didn't do this. Just tell that. Okay, I know what like this is like my expertise level in this one. This is like very basic level, like kind of that. Right. So what you have to do manual testing process is first you have to get the requirements. So this requirement will help us to start off our testing. Okay. So let's take okay. So let's take a simple login page. Okay. So in login page, what we'll have? We have username, we have password, and we have submit button, and we have create account. So like say this is a one page application for login. So now generally the requirements could be for this page is what it could be, check whether in the page the letters are displaying or not. Check whether username or password is clickable and able to do or able to enter the text. Right? You can check whether this button is clickable or not. Or when click on button, whether it's redirecting to your home or landing page. Right? This kind of requirement will be there. And if they have any explicitly some custom requirements, no, they will add that. Okay. So this will help us to what to test and what not to test. What the scope. So without requirement, you don't know what to test. There could be 100 scenarios, there could be 200 scenarios, right? So how do you know which scenario you have to test and what you have to check? And what is your expectation? So those things, everything within the requirement. Okay. This requirement is very important. With the help of this requirement only, we can start off the testing. So we'll be discussing the developers in a KT sessions. To understand the requirement, you will be discussing with your business analyst or a managers to understand more of the application. Once you have understand the requirement of the application only, then only you have to start the testing. Without understanding the application, without understanding the process, you shouldn't start the testing. It says, okay, I know this phase, I will simply test it. No, you shouldn't do that. Always go with the requirement only. Okay. So once you have a requirement, once you understood, or once you have a KT session with the developer or manager, so that now we have like little bit familiar with the application. Okay, this page has this one, these things are there. This we have to test. Then with this help of requirement, we'll be writing test scenarios. Test scenario is nothing but login page scenario, home page scenario, like invalid case scenario. Like the scenarios will define in a high level way. Scenarios are nothing but high level test cases. Right now, once we're in scenarios, we'll be document everything in the test plan. So test plan is a document. So if you go for any service level companies, right, like very big service level companies, they will follow this test plan documentation process. So as a tester or your lead or testing lead has to prepare a test plan document. In the document, you will say what you're going to test. Okay. Scenarios you'll mention, your plan. If you're using any tool, it could be like bug reporting tool, any tool if you are using, or any dependencies or any risks. Okay, you will write all this in the test plan document. So this test plan document is like a Bible to them, because you might tested anything, right? So how you will tell to clients as, okay, I have covered this one, I have got this is a test plan is a proof for us. So this we are going into the next sprint or next 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, so once your test plan, once your test enough, now we will write a test cases. Test case like detailed one. Suppose login page, right? How many test cases you will write? You can write invalid username, invalid password, correct valid username, valid password, valid username, invalid password, like that. Detailed steps will be writing the test cases. You can write like 100 or 200 test cases for module or scenario based on the application. So with the help of this test case only, we will drive the testing. So how many test cases are passed, how many test cases are failed once you're done with execution. Those things will come under these test cases. So once you execute it, what we'll do, we will be checking whether test case pass or fail, test case pass or fail using Excel sheet or using any tool based on the project. So I have 100 test cases, right? Once you start execution, first what you'll do, you will pick up the first test case. Says that, okay, valid username, valid password. So what you will do, you will simply come to your application, you will test it. Okay, I'll give valid username, valid password, and click on submit. What is the response? In the test case, you'll write what is expected response, what is the actual response. Right. Once your expected and your actual is both are matching, then it says the test case is pass. Or if both are not matching, test case is fail. So you'll simply update in your Excel sheet somewhere so that you know how many test cases pass, how many test cases are failed. Right. So assume that if test case is fail means, if test case is fail, what does it mean? Test case fail means it is not meeting the requirement. Correct. So then you will raise the bug. You call bug or defect. Or you can raise a issue. Not issue, you can say bug or defect. Bug or defect, nothing but whenever expected or actual result are not met based on a requirement, that we call bug or defect. So then we'll have to report the defect. So we have reported the defect. How I can't say, okay, I have a bug, do that. No. So we have a tools, right? It could be a Jira, or it could be a like a HP, QC, like that. A lot of tools are there. General will be using Jira, is a famous, is open source and free, where you will raise a defect there. Says that for this testing scenario, I have given input this, but I'm expecting this, but I got something like that. And you'll attach screenshot also for evidence. Right? So then once you raise a bug, what will happen? So like that, once assume that you have tested, your testing is completed in 1 week and you found some around 10 bugs. So once you raise the 10 bugs, these 10 bugs will be raised into the Jira or some tracking mechanism. So the developer will go through it. And again, they will come to you and they can drop an email, say that if they are satisfied, right? If they're satisfied with the bug, it's okay. But if they didn't satisfied, they will come to you and they will ask why it is the bug. So yeah, then at that time, you have to give an explanation. Okay, why it is a bug? What is the requirement here? What I have given? What is application is giving? If developer is not convinced, so you have to check with your manager. You have to submit all your evidences to manager, and manager can decide whether it can be a bug or not. So once your developer says, again, it has a bug cycle is there. You have to learn the bug cycle also, bug life cycle. So bug life cycle is first once defect is raised, now what is status new? Once if developer checks that bug, right, then it will be open. Okay, so once developer bug is fixed, then it is a fix, right? Then once it deploy into the environment, that could be a test. So if a bug is fixed or passed, right, it is a, if it bug is passed, no, then will be a closed status, or if not, it will be a reopen. Okay, that's a bug life cycle, right? So you should have idea on all this very basic and very details. So you don't have to worry about anything. We'll slowly understand each and everything, right? So that's bug life cycle. So now we have build one is there, right? So we have tested all these things in the build one. So now what will happen in the build one? We have raised 10 bugs. Okay, and in the bugs we have priorities also, because see how we will decide the priority. In this say, you are getting some extra text message when you click on submit. What it says, okay, welcome user, something like that, and it gives some extra text message. So that is like, okay, it is not expected, but that's okay. So that we have low priority. You can say P3 or P4 priority. When you say, I mean, important, if the login is not happening, you can't do everything, right? Your whole testing or the user is whole block. So then it's called P1 priority. So in this case, we will define also the what is the bug priorities, P1 or P2, P3. How much important is, how much not important, whether it has to fix immediately or not to fix immediately. Okay. So now in the build version 2, what developer do? He will give the fix of all the 10 bugs if possible. Otherwise, they will make some bugs are deferred, so that they will go to the next build like that. So let's say, sorry guys, just a second. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. Okay. So now in the build 2, we got the fix of these 10 bugs. So now what you have to do? Yesterday, what we discussed, what is our first right in the build 2? You can ping in the chart or just tell. Yeah. What is the first thing we have to do? You can share in the chart or you can unmute and just tell me. That's what you have to do. Once we got the second build with the fix of 10 bugs, what we have to do?
Test.
Yeah,
Checking if
retest.
all the bugs have been fixed
Yes.
or the functionality is not distorted.
Yes, correct. So we have to do retesting, right? This way the retesting will help us to check the 10 bugs. Whether this first priority is whether these 10 bugs are fixed or not. Okay, assume that the best case it's fixed. So then next what you have to do, we have to check other functionality areas where it could impact. I mean, these bug fixes can impact other functionality. That's we call what
Regression
testing?
testing.
Yeah, regression testing. Yes. So what we'll do regression testing there. We want to make sure that other areas are fine. Right? We'll do retesting, make sure that other bugs are fixed or not. Then we'll do regression testing, make sure other part of application which are not touched in the internal, right? In the internal, it could be anything in the back end, we don't know. So that's where we do regression testing. Okay. Yeah. So now once you're done with the things, you will have the report of final report. Okay. You can say test report. Okay, where you will mention we have covered this much of test cases, we got this much of bugs, and you will give a sign off. Sign off is nothing but you will say, okay, this build is ready to go to the next environment. Okay, this build is ready to go next environment. So what is environment? Environment nothing but suppose you guys were using VR, everyone, right? Like you are using YouTube, Facebook, Gmail, everything, where if the application using by real users like you, like us, like me, then that environment is called production environment. Whenever anyone says production environment means it is a whenever production environment, it is using by the real user. So we should be very careful with this environment. Okay, because real users are using, if you do any testing or if you delete or anything, right, it could create a disturbance for real users, because real users which are important for us, because with them only, right, we are thriving. The company is thriving because of the real users only. So we shouldn't do anything on the production environment without like manager or developer's permission. Okay, so then without production environment, how we'll test it properly? So that's why we have a testing environment where this is dedicated to us. You can do anything on this testing environment as a testers, because this can't be used by the any other people. I mean, in the external users or real users. So this is testing environment where you can do play and you can do anything about application. So it's all our control, right? Where developers will prepare, that we call development environment. This way, developer will write the code. They will do all the testing. They do their fixing in the development environment. It's like a very starting of the stage of the application. Okay. In between testing and production, right, you may have UAT. It's based on the project to project. UAT is nothing but it's one type of you guys know that UAT?
Yes, user
What is it?
acceptance testing.
Yeah, user testing. So it's based on project to project. Some projects they might go from testing to production directly. Some projects they maintain this UAT. So that UAT is like for specific number of users, not for full production. So they kind of say equivalent to production only, but not accessing by the real users. So it's safe. If everything is passed here, then they'll simply deploy in the production. If there's some issue in the UAT, they will simply block it. Okay, so these environments are important, because if you say your testing environment is fine, but your UAT is not working, means that's also the issue. Okay, while we're doing automation testing also, we'll be doing in a testing environment only, or sometimes we'll be doing UAT also. So what is the difference that these environments, right? The simple nothing but URL. Okay, the simple difference but nothing URL. So what is the URL? Let's understand bit on the infrastructure side, right? IT side, where the IT teams or admins will be deploying it. Okay, so let's take, I have my own machine, right? This is my laptop, personal laptop, right? So in this, I will deploy or I will try my code working or not. That's we call dev. Or it could be one of the server machine, or it could be one of the server where people will go here and deploy it. Same as like we have one more machine that we call for test. We have one more machine called production. Okay, these all are servers only. These are servers are nothing but one of the machines. You can say VMs or you can say cloud machines, anything. One physical machine or one virtual machine. Means I have all one machine for my dev environment, test environment, production environment. If you observe, the code will be same only. You know, all the things. The functional code will be same. Only the scope of the environment will change. So how we will differentiate? We'll differentiate by using the URL. Okay. So what is the URL? If you see here, if I do Amazon.in. Okay. If you see Amazon.in, this is a like production URL. You observe, right? Generally, if sometimes you will see here Amazon-dev. Kind of. Right? For the test, no, they will see Amazon-test. Like they differentiate using the URL only. By seeing the URL, you should be able to recognize, okay, this test URL or production URL like that. But some projects, they will maintain numbers like IPs or some other names. So in that, it's little bit difficult to identify by seeing the name. So you have to check with the developer. Okay, what is environment for? Then we'll store that mapping. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the common process for the manual testing. This is like by default. So here in the execution part, right? What we did, we executed manually, right? One by one. This test case passed, this case failed. Now, when we come to automation testing, the same thing will be using through code. When it comes to automation testing, same you will get the requirement, same you will write the test cases, manual test cases, or you will pick up the manual testing team. If in our project, right, you have two teams. manual testing team and automation testing team, then you can say simply ask manual testing team for the manual test cases, and you will try to convert it into automation. What automation means, you'll try to say, okay, well, there's manual test case, okay, you'll write a script for that, and you'll say, okay, the automation scenario is done for this manual testing scenario. Okay, so then you will write automation script here, and you will execute that. Okay, whereas manual testing will do execution manually. What he did, suppose here, yeah, let's take one other dummy website. Okay, so let's say login is there. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll write manually test one, test one, some, then click on login, and I will say if I'm getting expert output or not. But what automation do? Automation testing will write a small script such that it will open the browser, right? It will enter the username password automatically. Click on the login and it will check the output. That's called automation testing, where your code is doing everything on behalf of you, right? So that's where we'll do the automation testing. The same process will same. The bugs, the reporting, everything will be same. Only instead of doing manual execution, we'll be doing the automation script. So when we have to start automation testing for manual testing, right? Let's say you started manual testing if your application is not stable. I mean, the people are deploying it and it's not stable, so that you can stop immediately. But once you start automation testing, no, you can't stop in between, because our automation suite or test script, it's containing suite where it has a lot of test cases. So if you can't tell machine, right, the machine can't understand no whether application is stable or not. So and machine don't know when to stop, when to start. That's why we have to check the stability of the application. The application stable, if there no deployments are going on and the application at least stable for 1 hour, 2 hours, at that time only you'll start automation testing. Because once you start automation testing, your application is not stable, all our test cases will fail. So that's again a headache for like to check and debug why it failed, why it failed. So make sure if the application is stable, then only we'll start automation testing. Okay. It's clear, right? Till now, manual testing process, automation testing, and the flow cycle. For see, I'm not sure how many guys are experienced or fresher or trying, right? Even though you're trying and you would say that I have did some projects in the like free time or some interns or kind of no, at least whatever, just say with the confidence. They will analyze whether you are fresher or whether you really worked or not, but you don't have it. Just whatever you learned, whatever practice, just tell with the confidence. So they can't know that each project, each company, we have different process. They can't expect, I mean, interviewers, they can't expect, okay, they have to go these steps, not like that. Because we have lakhs of projects, lakhs of companies. And each company has different methodology or process. So whatever you learn, just follow, okay, I did this one only because our company, we are following this process only. Our project using this process. We want to like that only, right? Yeah. Now let's come to functional testing. Functional testing is kind of manual testing only, but it has more specific. Nothing but first you have to do behavior. How your application is behaving. As I told you, right, from login page to home page, whether it's going properly or not. If I add products in the cart, whether the products are added to cart or not, you got the symbol or not. In the cart symbol, right? The number will be updating or not. Those things will check the behavior. And we'll check the objects like the radio buttons, right? Or the text boxes. If you see the button is enabled or not, if I'm clicking or not. Okay. In the text box is there, I can enter the data or not. Right? And one more thing. If I enter password, I'm getting dots here. And if I get enter some text, I get a display here. So we have to check all these things. Whether if there is a link is there, let's say this is a demos as a link. If I click on the link, then the link is working or not. This kind of objects we have to verify. Earlier, what we did, we just executed our test case and we did that. But this is like kind of more object specific testing. Okay. Yeah. Now, yeah. So here we have to check database testing also. What is database testing? Suppose let's take home. Okay. So we have login. Let's say I don't have account. What we have register, right? So what register will do? If I give detail and submit, what will happen in the backend? You can tell in the chart or you can tell.
Save this data.
Okay. Others, please. based on whatever idea, right? If I do registration page, if I click on submit, what will happen? Please share in the chat your thoughts or unmute yourself and please tell the answer. For any application, right? For any application, registration or sign up, what will happen?
You will get
Facebook.
a warning in case the rest of the fields are not filled because those are mandatory fields.
No. Let's assume that I have given proper data and I submitted, I got success also. So success you got, user got created, I got the response too. Now, what could happen in the backend?
It get stored in the table.
Okay.
The data will be stored.
Server
It tallies it with the data in the server, and then if it is correct, then it goes to the next page.
The data will be stored in the database.
Yeah. Okay. Any more answers? Yeah, you guys are all correct almost. Yeah. Any more others? Yeah. So any application, right? These days, the application by default, they're having a database. So database nothing but to store our users' records. So once you click on registration page, what will happen? Click on submit, the all data will go to your database. In the database, they have maintained tables. In the table, that will be stored like user details table. Something, any table based on the logic inside, right? So whatever you enter this data, you click on submit. Once you got success, says that, okay, user successfully created or welcome, kind of anything, success, positive success response. So it means your database has registered that record. But now here, what you have to do testing. So can you believe your application that was really created or not? You don't know that, right? So what we have to do, we have to log into database and we have to check whether real user in the database or not. So this will help us to more testing. The scope is now increasing more, right? Now, normal people, what will do? Okay, I got the registration base, I got success. That's it. No, you should always check in the back end also whether the really in the database, the record is stable inside or not. See, for database testing, you don't have to learn much. It's not like very big, just simple 2 or 3 queries. Select star from user table, select star from this table. Very basic queries you can try and you'll know the output. Based on the output, you can check, okay, whatever I entered here, let's say I have registered with the test 5. So whether my test 5 details are there in the database or not. So once you check this thing, then you'll get more confidence. Okay, then you understand our application architecture also. Okay, if I do this, these are tables they created. So like that, you can have more scope of testing. You can write more better test cases and you can find more edge defects. Very critical bugs, right? You can find it if you know understanding the backend flow also. So if you have a scope in our project, always try to do a test-based testing. Even though if the manager is say that you don't have to do, just check, just take a read access and just install the database and try. It's very small queries, select start from queries, just reading data instead of not updating or deleting. So you will get to know how your application architecture is defined. Right? Yeah. The next thing is error handling. Errors means suppose we have given a wrong password. How errors are descriptive, whether it is easy to understand by the user or not. Or if the user is stuck with some way, suppose payment is doing and payment got failed due to internet issues or some issues. So how we displaying the error? Whether is able to recover from that page or not. So this error handling also very, very important whenever we do Day2 testing. Okay, see, this one today, right, and one more day, this will completely on theory, then we'll be starting with Java. So don't feel like that everything will be a theoretical classes, right? Because as a automation testing class only, but you should be familiar with basic things of other things. That's why I'm telling this theory. Okay, so the error handling is very important whenever you do Day2 testing or whenever user breaks, what are the chances he can recover? Suppose in the home page, right, he's browsing some products. Okay, in the browsing products, even if something went wrong, you can simply get back. But when doing a payment or when doing the address from, when doing the filling some details, at that time, if application breaks, how he can recover? What is the error message we should display? Are we storing same data or not? Suppose if we logged off, again you're logging in, okay, whether it's storing the data in the cache or not. So then you have to go from flow or not. That's we have to discuss with our developers and you have to write test case about them, you can test it. That's a error handling. Okay, so these are the basics of our functional testing or manual testing or basic testing process, irrespective of any testing. Same in the perform testing also, right? Here, instead of this requirement list test cases, we'll be more focusing on the performance SLAs, service level agreement we have, where we'll check, okay, whether I'm getting this much of response time or this much of throughput. That's where we'll check. The process is same. We have to discuss the developers. We should be familiar with the application. You should write a test cases and you should execute it. Okay, and you have a strategy document, a reporting document, so that you will have proof, say what you did in this project. Suppose in our testing, right, you have tested each and everything, and you say, and you didn't find any bugs. Okay, and you didn't get any bugs. So what we'll do? Yeah, you didn't get any bugs. So you say, okay, it's green for me, and everything is done, right? So now what and the production, and I'm sorry, the application deployed in the production, and production they got the issue. And now first thing, when the production, when now they got the important critical issues, they will come back to testing team and they will ask you, how come it is missed in our environment? And at that time, you should have a proof. Okay, you have to check what is test case tagged. You have to check the test case result, whether it's passed or failed, or that sometimes there could be human errors, right? By mistake, it could be skipped. Those human errors could be there, right? So that's you have to validate and you have to give proof. Says that no, it's in our environment still running. You have to test immediately. You have to replicate the defect in the your environment, whether it's real bug or not in the environment. If your environment passes, in the production fails, means there's something wrong with the build. So then developers or IT guys will look into it. But you should have a proof of each and everything. What you have tested, what is passed. Because if something wrong with the production IT environment, all the blame will become to testing team. Because based on our confidence, based on our validation only, right? They're deploying to production. If you say no, because we can't deploy this application to production because it has a lot of bugs and not stable, then they won't deploy. That's why you should have a proof, because you don't know, right? If someone says, if you say even the pass, but at the time they will ask, no, you didn't say it pass. So that's why you should have a reports and documentation. It's a proof what we did. That's why we get us the sign off, so that people will know what we did, what is passed, what is not failed. Okay, that's a process of your manual testing or automation testing, the testing basics formats. Okay, now let's go to the Java. So before going to Java, very basic one. So you guys have any questions on this process? Any question on this process? Guys, please unmute yourself or in the chat. Just let me know if you have any questions on anything. Not about this one. If you have any other doubts, normally, right? Yeah. Then because once we start the coding, right? So it would be more on the coding level, those things. No, that's why. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's clear. Okay. Okay. So shall we start from the code, right? So now, yesterday we discussed, what we required to learn the Selenium. First, we need to know Java. Okay. So we learn the Java while playing. I mean, we learn and play like kind of that. I want intention, so that you should be, you should not feel like stress, like, okay, this is a coding, I need to learn, or how I know that, how can I write a code? Not like, don't feel those things. See, as I mentioned, that even though I have started my career from manual testing, so I have learned these things one by one. It's very easy, but you should know proper guidance. You should have proper time to practice. If you understand the logic, if you practice, nothing, that's it. Java is very easy. You don't have to go for like algorithms, data structures, like developers, that's not required for us. As a tester or functional tester, automation tester, you just know 70% or 60% of Java. But you should have an idea on the data structures, algorithms. That's the second next level part. But before that, you should have basic thing. Because as an automation tester, and the interviewer will expect whether he's able to write the code or not. For a given scenario, he is able to write it or not. And right, half of the things we depend on the Google. Because people can't remember each and everything, right? The commands, the sequence, not required. You have to remember the logic. Other things you can Google it. Everyone will allow that and acceptable. It's not like you have to remember the whole program. No, not like that. And we are doing the IntelliJ Visual Studio Eclipse, right? These are like, they have intelligence where that if you type off of the command, after the command, it will give it to you. So that's why you don't have to remember the commands or programs. You don't have to by heart those things, but you should remember the logic. If you know the logic, one by one, we'll write the code and we'll run it, we'll get errors, we'll fix it like that only. So if you have this type of behavior, I mean, this type of perspective, right? So it's very easy to learn Java. So don't feel stressed or don't text. But without practice, without learning, obviously Java will make like, oh, it's a very heavy concept. No, it's very easy if you practice it. All right. Okay. So now here I will be using IntelliJ as I'm more comfortable and it's like more famous also. Eclipse is like old fashioned now. Now people are using IntelliJ and Visual Studio. Okay. But I use Java most for the IntelliJ. That's why people are using JavaScript, right? Or Python. No? They will go to Visual Studio. But if you guys are comfortable with Visual Studio, you can try in Visual Studio only. So, but the whole class will be IntelliJ. So these are the like a platform to run the code. So whatever the platform is fine. That's good only. Okay. So before that, first we have to install the Java in our machine. So before installing, we should know, right, whether Java is installed or not. So how we will check that Java installed or not? Let's go to command prompt. So how we'll go to command prompt? I have go Windows R, right? Windows R means it will open the run. The shortcut Windows R. So here I will enter the CMD. CMD nothing but it will open the command prompt. In the command prompt, I have Java version to check. So Java space version. If I got some version number like this 1.8 or 11 or 17 or 16 or 9, it means your Java is installed. And if you got like Java is internal recognizable not error kind of thing, it means Java is not installed. Okay, so you should install the Java to start off the Selenium or to start off the Java practice, right? Without these things, you can't practice it. Okay, so how will install the Java? So simply we'll go to the Google, say Java free download. You can see Java download anywhere. Just go to any link which is the first link, right? Java.com, that's best. Because if you're downloading Oracle Java, right, it's going for Java 11, Java 18. But that should do okay. As a tester, we are not developing it. That's fine. Otherwise, you can go download your Java. Okay, just click on download Java. The setup is there. This is 8. It's a Java 8 version. So now market is on mostly 11 and 16 and 17 Java 16. That's okay. For us, we'll start with the 8 only. Okay, most of the people still are doing Java 8. So once you click on it, it will install the Java. Right. So how will check when, because in my machine the Java is already there. So what I will do, so I will check it by using the C drive. I'll go to program files 86. I will go to Java folder. If I see Java is there or not, then you see JRE 1.8. So we have Java again 2 types, JRE 1.8 and JDK. So we need to install both JDK and JRE. Both should be there. JRE is nothing but Java runtime environment where we want to run the program. Right? JDK is nothing but where we have to, we are developing the code, right? We'll write the code, and that's where Java development kit, where it's required for us. Okay. So let's assume that you have Java and you are not sure about it. Okay, that's fine. Let's leave it. Now let's download IntelliJ. For IntelliJ, it's a commercial licensed one. So we have free version called enterprise version. Sorry, community version. We will be downloading this community version of IntelliJ so that we can start off it. Whereas in offices, right, we'll be using licensed one. And one more thing, in our office machines, don't download anything from public unless until it is approved. See, we download Java directly right here from the market, or we download the IntelliJ, we download any other tool. So in our office machines, please don't do that. It's a security issue. You should check with your admins or check with developers how to install those things. Anything, whether small jar or big jar, always check with your policies or always check with your manager, developer, then only install it. Because if you download right, illegal way or a public way, no, it could be a breach. So it is a risk of losing your job also. So while doing any POCs, while doing any learning in your office machine, please follow the guidelines as it is. Don't take any risk while downloading those things. Even though it's allowable, don't do that. Check with your team properly whether it's allowable to download or not, or how to get. Suppose you don't know how to install Java, check with the team how to install Java. In our offices, right, we could have a different approaches. We had internal stores or internal repos where you can download these things. So go to that and download it. Check with them and download it. Don't download blindly. Okay, so I will do IntelliJ download. Just type IntelliJ. So we'll be using IntelliJ that we call IntelliJ IDE, right? Integrated Development Environment IDE is nothing but. So I will download IntelliJ. Just click on the first link. Right, he has a Ultimate and Community Edition. So and we have Windows, Mac, Linux. Both each environment we have it's available. Just go for what based on whatever you guys are using. So here we will discuss everything on Windows. So I'll just Community Edition as a free for us. So in our offices, you might having license version, you can download it. But in our personal laptops, while you do practicing everything, you have to download community edition. Okay. Now let's click on download. So it will download the exe. Right. Yeah, it will download 646 MB, it will download its exe, and while downloading it will ask whether you want to run with the Java, Groovy, Scala, Python, whatever it is. So here we are choosing Java as our class. So we select the Java. Okay, I'll stop download, it's already there. Right. So once it installed, you search for IntelliJ. Yeah, IntelliJ. You will see, right? IntelliJ Asia Communication. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, okay. IntelliJ idea combination. Let's click on open. So community edition is free, so we can download for free and we can use it. Okay, so for you, right, it already opened the previous process. Let's go to the file new. It will open a blank screen and we have to create the project. Okay, so okay, let me close this. Yeah. Okay, it will open a very blank screen. You don't have to worry. You just to go to file, new project. So while installing one, it will ask you, right, Java, Groovy or something. So it's by default Java. So let's go to new project. Right. So now here you don't have to worry about the technical like classes, everything. Just we'll do a basic thing now. Right. File. We'll give some test project. Okay, that's a project name. Okay, test project. And here we'll choose the Java because we'll be doing in Java, right? And here you can select the JDK. So by default, even if you didn't install the JDK, where IntelliJ will ask you. By default, it is 17 is there. Just click on OK and click on create. So this window, yeah. Yeah, so you will be seeing like this. Okay, so just click on the main class. Yeah, so whatever you write here, right, everything will execute here in the main class. In a Java, without main class, that project or the class file won't be executed. So main class is very, very important for us. Okay, without main method, you can't execute anything in the Java. Okay, yeah. So you're clear with, right, how to install those things. So let's go to our variables. So to start off, right, to be familiar with Java language easily, first we have to learn the data types and variables. So data types are nothing but how we'll define the numbers, how to define the words, how to define the characters. That we call data type. So by default, we have 4 data types. Int for numbers. So whenever you say int or integer, that's for to define the numbers. In the double is for decimals, right? Or long values. Sorry, decimals, sorry, is for long numbers. String is for the words. Whenever you want to store Java, JMeter, integer, the words, right? That's called. Char is nothing but for single characters. So your programming knowledge, your code almost depend on these 4 data types. If you know properly about these 4 data types, half of the logic is done. Other half is remaining part. So you should be knowing these data of each and very careful one by one. Okay, these are nothing but data types because in a program, in a machine, right, we are talking to machine. So how machine will know? Machine can't know, right, by default. So we have to tell each and everything. That's where the data type will help us to know, okay, this is a number, this is a string, this is a character, this is a decimal value, this is a long value. Like that, we have to define this data types. And we have called variables. What is a variable? Variable is nothing but where we will storing some value in the variable. Right? We'll store some value in the variable. Let's say if I say name equal to Java. So here, what is the name? Name is a variable. In this variable, I'm storing a Java as a value, so that I can use this variable anywhere in my program. So these variables also will help us, because this without these variables, without data types, we can't start on the coding. Okay, so let's go to the program. So by default, we got main class got created, but in the Visual Studio, in the Eclipse, it is different format. So we have to just create the class and we have to add a main method. Okay, so if you observe here, let's go to this plus. Okay, so if you see, whatever you write inside the main, that only thing will execute. Right? If you see, this is a brackets, this is open bracket, and this is a closed bracket. So whatever you write in between the open bracket and closed bracket, that code will be executed. Okay, and system.out.println is common command to print. Whenever you want to print anything, right, just use system.out.println just to print, so to know whether it's working or not. Okay, now let's execute this program. What it be, the default is hello world is there. No? So what it'll do, simply right click on the main class, or you can right click on this main class, left hand side, anywhere, or you can see this green button is there, right, run button on the main, or you can run this. Just click on this run button. See, run main.main. What you'll do, simply run. See what you got, it printed hello world. So now we executed simple main program. Okay, suppose if I write here system dot, okay, capital S, system dot out dot println. So let's say in the double quotes, we have to write in a double quotes, welcome. If I run the program now again, just click on run button. Let's see, got welcome. So whatever write in this open brace, close brace, that's where your program will execute. Same as in Selenium, right? Our all automation sets, everything will come under this main class. So main method. Okay, and this is will called class. We are writing main.java, right? Here, this is a class file. This is called Java class file. Okay. So I know some of the guys, you know this. I mean, this could be a basic part of it, but some of the guys who are very new, right? That's why I'm explaining very slowly. So once everyone is in the same place, then we'll start off with the speed manner. Okay. So clear, right? How to install Java? So from next class, you have to install the Java. You have to IntelliJ or Visual Studio Eclipse, whatever you guys are familiar. Do try to comfort with whatever you guys which are using it. Okay. So then we'll write a small program to it. Now let's say data types are defined. No. So let's define. I want to do some simple calculation. I want to do 1 plus 2. So what you have to do first? Int. See, int a. A is like representation of int. Suppose if I see int here, if you see now, the color is changed. Why it is color changed? Because it is a data type. Suppose if I write something, color won't change. Because it's not no. But whereas int is a data type, that's why color is changed. Now, what I will do, int a equal to 1. A is a variable here. So what I'm doing, a is a variable which storing the 1 as a number. Because it's defined as int, right? Data type means it's a 1. See, whatever I'm storing, I need to define the data type here. It's like, suppose, see, how can I say in a proper example? Yeah, now I define as int, right? What it does mean, it can store only the, let's say cars and bikes. Suppose you have a bike shop, it means it will store only bikes. It won't store any cars, right? That's where. Now, if I define int a equal to means I can store only the numbers, because my data type is the data type is the int. I can't use any words here. I can only numbers, any number. So I do simply 1. Okay, now I do next int b equal to 2. It means I define 2 numbers. A is 1, b equal to 2. So how would I know that it's numbers? Because my data type is int. Int is nothing but integer. Right? Now, if I want to do sum of a plus b, what I will do? Int c equal to, because output of a plus b, what is output? It's number, right? Again. Right? So output of a is also number. So output is also int. That's why I define int c equal to a plus b. Right? So now if you observe, I used a and b here, that's what got white. If you observe it, if I didn't define here, see a and b are gray color only, saying that it is not using any of the code. So that will also help us whether the variable is properly using or not. Okay, a plus b. So now what is C value? C is nothing but output of a plus b. So how do I know that what is the C? So we'll use again system dot out dot println. Say C. Simply I pass the C. See here I won't use any double quotes because C is already defined as data type. If I put in double quote C, right, it will print only C. But I need value inside the C because C is a variable. So now if I run the program, okay, we got 3. Okay, so I told you, right, it could be very basic. So that slowly we'll go to the speed. Okay, so people who are know all those things, please bear for just 10 to 20 minutes time, so that other people can also in the same pace. Okay, it's clear, right? How to write a very basic program. Don't worry, we'll go in deeper with integer, other data types, how to do the types. Okay, so I'm stopping the recording now.